Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Bien Faded Barbershop. Thank you for always hooking it up, keeping us fresh. I just got mine yesterday.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, check out those gentlemen out there, man. If you guys go to BM Faded on Instagram, you guys can click on their bio and you guys can set up appointments with any of the barbers that they have there. They're all really talented guys. Make sure you guys check them out. Guys, welcome back to a podcast. My name is Alan and I have Jorge. Our special guest today, Sam Parra with Parra Wines Company. We're very excited to have him. He's originally from Napa, California, and he moved out to Oregon. The article that I read was that you started in 2019, and I think you had already been here for like 3 years, so you must have moved here back in 2016?
Summer of 2016.
Oh, see, right on.
But
I'm good at math. Do you see that?
You got it.
But even speaking of math, I came to visit out here first
Uh-huh.
in 1999
Okay.
when I was 21.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Where did you visit when you were 21?
I visited mainly the Dundee Hills over by
I see.
Dayton and
Dayton.
Dundee,
Yup.
north, because I worked for a winery in Napa that founded a winery in that area.
Yeah.
So I came out to visit. I saw McMinnville beef. Like when you go to downtown now and in a 3-block radius, there's like 8 tasting rooms.
Wow.
Back then in the whole town, there was 2 wineries.
Dang.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You were not even born back then, huh?
No, I was just born. That's okay, though.
But yeah, big shout out to your sponsor. I
Bien
met
Faded.
the owner. I love his sticker.
Aaron.
Bien Faded.
Yup.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he met you. Yeah, at
Yeah.
the what was it? The event.
The
It was a
school.
community resource fair.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, man. We told him we were gonna have you on, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I met him.
Yeah.
He's like, he was talking with you about that too, no?
Mm-hmm.
But no, man. I want to congratulate you on your business. So it's been open since 2019. And I was reading. I think one of the big things for you this year was that you were creating this, right?
Yeah, I am the first Latino domestic brand. You have to submit a formula. So whenever you're infusing wine, because I'm selling a regulated product here.
Mm-hmm.
This is a regulated product, just like tobacco.
Because it's alcohol, right?
It's
The
alcohol. It's
tobacco is like
heavy
the same.
regulated.
Yeah.
So any addition infused like this, bien té de canela and Jamaica, hibiscus.
Yeah.
It's the inspiration of course, the agua fresca Jamaica and the true culture of not just Mexico, but other countries in Central and Latin America as well. And so it's infused, and I have to submit a formula. And now I own that formula. So the percentage that I use of hibiscus that was in a mesh bag and the tea, if anybody else comes near close those percentages, the government's gonna come back and be like, you have to adjust it. Somebody already has this.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it also like a royalty? Like they can contact you and be like, yo, do I have to pay a certain amount to be able to use similar to this, or no? Like you just can't use it.
They just can't.
They just can't use it.
Yeah, yeah, and I wouldn't want that because when you try this, have it on ice. By the way.
Oh, really?
The ice really enhances more the flavor of the tea, the cinnamon tea and the hibiscus really jump out more on ice, and it's 11% alcohol. So if you're trying to lower the calories and the alcohol, I actually add about 20% Topo Chico.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, this guy loves Topo Chico.
Yeah.
Topo Chico and that on a blazing hot day, if we actually get one
Yeah,
again.
if we get one.
This the,
You
the,
have to
the
wait
remainder
for a
of
year.
summer. Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually are getting 95 weather next
When-
week. Next
The-
week.
yeah, this
We are?
coming week. Yeah.
Ahí está.
That's one. There you go.
There you go. You guys can get your wine.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the very beginning. So
Yes.
wine has always been in your like part of you.
Yeah.
Your family for generations. You guys have been working in vineyards and something to do with wine for a really long time.
Yes, it started with many hardworking folks that I've met in this area as well. They came to work through Bracero program.
Bracero.
Are you aware of Bracero?
Is that I think that might have been the program that I was reading about in your in the article that I was reading where
Yeah.
there was a lot of immigrants that immigrated from Mexico in like
Yeah.
the early 1940s.
Well, yeah,
50s.
even in general, from different programs that we've had, in this country of ours, Bracero started with Eisenhower during World War II because so many great soldiers overseas and so many lost lives where the work visa was there with Mexico, but in certain areas of the U.S., it was so integrated with other programs being beneficial citizenship. And so my grandparents came through Bracero. Paternally, through Parra, my grandfather came to work. He loved to work here, but he would always go back to Mexico and establish a business. Maternally, they stayed put. They would go back and forth to Mexico. But Bracero went all the way through the early 50s. But maternally, my grandfather, Manuel Martinez, en que en paz descanse, came in the late 40s.
In the late 40s.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, late 40s in Texas. And that's where he learned how to operate heavy machine equipment that then later benefited him to clear land to be developed for vineyards in Napa.
Oh,
But so both grandparents, really hard workers. They love what they did, but it was hard to see what took place a toll in their body.
Oh, yeah.
Getting knee replacements and hips, but they just love what they did, man. And it's really hard to work, as you know.
So he's still alive, right?
No, they both passed.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, none of my grandparents are alive, even in general. Again, may they rest in peace. And then the next generation, maternally, my uncles, two of my uncles, with two partners in LA, they have Vinos Unidos.
oh,
Vinos Unidos.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I came out here summer of 2016, released wines in 2019, and been growing ever since. I'm what is known as self-distributed in Oregon. Wherever you see my wines here in Salem or through Oregon, I went directly and sold it to them. Yeah, no tasting room right now. It's a bit risky with times right now with a lease. So just taking cautious because this industry right here is dominated by folks with multi-generational wealth
Yep.
or folks that made a lot of money doing something else. The joke in the industry is, I'll tell you guys, I'm going to ask you, hey guys, how do you make $1 million in the wine industry? How do you make $1 million in the wine industry?
By investing $1 million?
You start out with 5.
With $5?
And that's just a joke in general.
Oh.
Like, how do you make $1 million in the wine industry? You start out with 5, because with 5 million, you can buy land. You can buy land. You can develop a vineyard. You can build a winery. You can get things going fast, right? With 5 million, I think many industries can start out. So it's just a joke. Like, hey, how do you make $1 million revenue with wine? You start out with a lot more.
Jeez.
So I'm the opposite. Where others exist, there's when I began to save for this, basically I would go work one day that I had off from my daytime employer. I would go label at mainly mobile bottling companies, label and bottling at wineries to generate extra income to start this. And there's others that are passionate where you just start out really small. And if you grind it out and if you're obviously savvy in sales, then you start getting some revenue back in and you can start growing little by little. But it is a really hard industry to be in. It's just a really hard industry, in general, because you have all the wineries, and all 50 states have wineries now in the U.S.
All 50.
And then you have wine being imported, all the affordable wines from Europe, all the delicious wines of Chile and Argentina.
Okay.
So you have right now there's a glut of alcohol out there in general. Beer, spirits, and wine. And many different factors, not just the economy right now, but younger generations are consuming less. I've seen the growth of mocktails in Portland.
What's a mocktail?
No alcohol.
Oh, so non-alcoholic.
It's a wannabe, like you order like look what looks like a gin and
oh,
tonic.
okay,
But they just make something that's non-alcoholic. It's a mocktail.
So just like a margarita with no.
Exactly.
alcohol.
Yeah. Yes.
Interesting. I've never had one of those. I don't think I'd be interested in having one of those.
Right? Yeah.
Have you ever watched the Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, a long time ago. I don't remember anything about it.
The end when after they had gotten busted and the guy shows up and he's drinking non-alcoholic beer and he asks his buddy, he's like, "Hey, you want one?" And he's like, "A beer?" And he's like, No. He's like, "I thought you didn't drink anymore." He's like, "No, this is non-alcoholic. It doesn't have alcohol." And he's like, "So if you take a bunch of these, do you get fucked up?" And he's like, "No, I just told you it's a non-alcoholic beer." He's like, "I don't understand why you would drink that then."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think you're talking about that scene, John scene.
Oh, no, not that one. That's John's favorite scene. Did you already know you were wanting to start a wine company moving to Oregon, or did that start while you were here? And
It started out here. The main point, the main goal of the move out here was the age of my wife and myself in general to become homeowners.
Okay.
In general, just time was passing by. Such an expensive area where we lived at, and it's just a matter of time where you just reach a certain age in life where you just want, certain goals. So we came out here, and we got into our house in November of 2017, and even at that time, from tip money and from working on the one day off that I didn't have the common day off with my wife, we just began to just save little by little. Again, where I started at such a small quantity, and to grow to still what is a micro scale quantity in general.
Yeah.
This has been a good shift, by the way. The canned wine. I mentioned younger consumers gravitating to this format, and I also bottled 2 different wines and half bottles.
When did you start? Was this the first, or what was the first wine you produced?
The very first wine, 2018, Viognier is a grape that mainly makes a dry white wine. And then I did a Rosado of Tempranillo as well. Those are the 2. But for the cans, I began last year.
Last year.
Yeah, last year I did the white, the Vino Blanco, and the Rosado. They're both sparkling wines in a can. And the same this year, but I added the red wine called Vino Chingon.
I saw that you had a.
I like the
shirts for that
shirt,
too.
yeah.
Thank you.
I was reading on these that these are just a lot more portable and just a lot easier to carry for like events and stuff, and that it's kind of a new, bigger thing in the wine.
Yeah.
Do you see it selling any better compared to your other wines just because it's bottled?
I feel right now, being that for the younger demographics, where these cans are going to, yes, I'm glad that I adjusted a few wines to cans. I wish I had the income to carry them year round, but I do not want to be known for canned wine. I mean, it's premium wine, but this is when I make the statement. Anything that ends up in a single vineyard wine, you can actually see how the vineyard owner gave me permission to reference them. This is Polk County. This is out in West Salem.
Okay.
They have a big venue for weddings, for events. Zenith Vineyard.
Zenith Vineyard.
Zenith Vineyard, yeah.
I saw that you on your website it shows that you outsource 3 different wine. What do you call them? Vineyards, I guess. We have 3 wine vineyards
of grapes that I buy.
of grapes that you
Yeah.
buy. So Salem, it was West Salem, and then Amity. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So I purchased from actually the couple is Mexican in Wilsonville. That my friend Adrian Mendoza manages the property, and he has a property that he's leasing in West Salem, off Orchard Heights Road. This guy Adrian Mendoza, I buy grapes from him. I buy from Zenith. One other one was in West Lynn in the past. I used to buy from one outside of Turner, but my contract is growing with a grower in Dallas, Oregon. His name is Jeff Haviland. So I make 4 wines from his property.
Very nice.
Yeah. So that's I buy all my grapes. I'm in a cooperative in McMinnville, and after the wine is made, I gotta go sell it.
They ship you the wine, right? Is that how it works? And then you distribute it to bars and...
Yeah, for the grapes. Yeah, they deliver the grapes to the cooperative,
Uh-huh. And then they bottle.
wine is made.
Right.
Yeah, and I bottle on site. I just bottled 4 wines this Tuesday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I was working today, and I took Tuesday off, and I was there at the cooperative bottling. And then from there, they have to be stored at facilities, and I can get the wine out little by little to go sell it.
Was that you, the one that just kind of like, I don't know what you call that. You just put it in there and it just drops the wine?
Oh, yeah, I saw that on your...
Or was that just a different place?
Which one?
On your
I'm sorry, the
page.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
saw
was
it.
the
Yeah.
bottle filler. That
Yeah,
you
is that
saw?
okay? Waterfall. Yeah, there was like a circle, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just go there, boom.
Yeah.
Was that your wine or no?
That was one of my
Okay,
wines.
okay.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
You saw the video?
Yeah, I saw
I was
you
like, that's
the one that
quick.
told me about it, yeah.
Oh yeah.
How do you guys put this in, man?
It's with a machine in general.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like-
After the rotating machine you saw,
Yeah.
they get passed to the next person, and he just inserts it in this little machine,
Just
squarish, and the machine
Kind of
goes
like
right
pressure.
in.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's easier for it to get put on than it is to
I
take
know,
out.
man.
Yeah, you could rent a standing one where you're doing it manually,
Really?
but
Nah.
yeah, eventually these cooperatives they have machines to get things done quicker.
I think out of all the get-togethers that we've had in like the last 10 years, we've probably had a bottle of wine maybe 4 times, and I swear probably all 4 times we mess up the cork. All
Yeah.
4 times.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
without falta.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
with us, but now with like when it's just me and my wife or my sister and stuff,
Yeah.
we have you know how they sell the
You have a little machine now.
the little machine
Yeah.
now,
I haven't seen
dude.
that.
Get your wife one, man.
I'm gonna get her one.
It's easy. It's like
They invested, man.
quick.
Yeah,
They don't. Yeah.
It's
He didn't-
quick.
he didn't
They don't
wanna
want to break
tell
that
me.
cork again.
Yeah, he don't want to tell me the
Nah,
secret,
man.
man.
I don't think I've used that in years now.
What, the
Yeah,
fork?
it's a maquinita. It's easy, dude. So easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
he didn't want to tell you because it's dangerous for you to open the wine faster.
Maybe. Huh.
Yeah. It could be. Yeah.
So now that you have this flavor on, Hispanic flavor, Mexican flavor,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of new flavors are you planning on coming out in the next couple years? Or are you just planning on focusing on just expanding what you already have?
For now, just to focus on what I already have in general, but there's always the idea of, sake being the rice wine.
I've never heard of it.
You can always make a sake with a white dessert wine, like such as I make a white port, and you can always mix that in with like a rice wine, a sake, and make like a wine boozy horchata.
Oh, really?
What makes it a sake? They're gonna be mad at me.
Oh, it's rice wine.
It's rice wine, but like
That's what makes it sake.
Oh,
just
okay.
having some rice wine.
Yeah.
You can blend it with.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely blend it with made wine from grapes, like a dessert wine, and that's what I thought. I'm like, well, you have a sake that's already white and sweet, and why not booze it up a little more with a dessert wine and just make it a boozy horchata?
Sake. So
Yeah.
what does sake mean?
Sake from Asia, it's rice wine.
Rice wine is what it means.
Yeah.
Actually means.
I've had it before. I actually had it when we went to
Sushi?
Sushi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and John had it.
You can have it either cold or hot.
Interesting.
We had it hot.
I prefer it cold.
Oh, we had it hot that one time.
You had it hot.
Yeah, sake wine. I was like, okay, what is this? I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it's cool. Yeah.
You're like sácalo.
If it would have been cold, maybe, but hot, I never,
Yeah.
So I've heard in the past that they say that a lot of wines they're made to like drink them with specific plates that
Yeah.
según the palette of the flavors and stuff
Like a
comes
a
out
food
more.
pairing,
Is
yeah.
it, what would you say that you would pair your
I would love to cover that
wine
with
with?
you.
I would
Yeah.
love to hear that.
So this one here, the bubbly white, because it has really good acidity. I would have it with Indian, Thai, or Vietnamese food.
Okay.
This one, how I'm recommending that you have it on ice, and it has good acid as well, but it's not bubbly. When you're having it really cold, chicken fajitas, a paella, the way that it, because of the flavors, even spaghetti. I know you're going to be having a wine like with some ice on it, but the acidity will match really well the acidity of the red sauce and spaghetti. And then the tempranillo, this one, have it pork loin, like a filet mignon. You can even have it with carne asada tacos. The one thing I do always talk about with Mexican cuisine and certain dishes, you can have this with carne asada, but do not put your family's really hot sauce on your tacos because the acid on the really red on the hot sauce is gonna clash with the acid on the red wine. So what you want to do, you guys, just do a carne asada taco, and just get your grilled veggies there, whatever's going on the grill. You know, cebolla, or maybe get some bell pepper going.
Yeah.
Just put grilled veggies on the taco instead of salsa. So you're gonna have all the grilled veggies, either the flour or corn tortilla, and then the carne asada. That will pair really well with this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's a tip that I have for Mexican food. If you want to have it with red wine, whether it's again carne asada or pastor or carnitas, just lay off the salsa. Just put
the salsa.
grilled veggies, and you can have it with a red wine.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because
doesn't.
I mean, what he's saying, well, it
if
doesn't
not,
make
you're
sense,
gonna-
but
if
what
not,
he's
you're gonna have
saying,
the acid clash. Man.
yeah,
You're gonna,
that's what he's saying. The acid is puro ácido, pues.
you're gonna have heartburn.
Just because you say it in Spanish doesn't mean I understand
Well,
it.
dude, you look at us like,
Puro
it's
ácido.
like you look at us like, man,
No,
what
I
are
don't
you
know,
really
I don't
talking about, man?
No, because I've always heard that. They say that some wines you eat with like
I've heard
they have
that
like the
too.
cheese platters or they have some even with chocolate. It's supposed to like just
Yeah,
get more detailed of a taste or something. So I mean that's interesting too with like the nicer wines. It's still todavía como steak y todo eso,
Yeah.
pero I mean
And Sam, do you drink wine yourself?
Um,
Like, what is your favorite wine?
cocktails.
I would like to say that even before I would always answer that, and I would drink wine with days that end in Y. But
Todos los días.
yeah. But now too, as I'm getting older, and I will say this: with one side of the family, diabetes running deep in my family, it's one of those things with age where I sip on wine when I'm working at the cooperative, and when I'm like opening up wines for like my pop-up events.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, you gotta taste the wine to see it's tasting okay. But away from that, at home, I'm really controlling what's open.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Yeah, now it's just one of
For
those things
sure.
in life where
Once-
if I cut out the sugar at home on obviously alcohol, then at least I'm heading that route of trying to combat the diabetes.
Exactly. Yeah, that's good.
But yes, I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. I hear that wine has more sugar just because it's made of usually with grapes, so fruit has a lot of sugar in it already without you putting sugar in it.
And you're fermenting it, and alcohol has, it's alcohol and sugar in a bottle.
So does it tend to have more sugar than like cerveza?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, a lot more sugar.
I've heard that's why you have a bigger hangover
With
'cause
wine?
Yes. There was times that we were at my sister's house, and my sister, my wife, they like to drink wine, so we would get a lot of wine de Chile or Argentina.
Yeah.
The world market has those like South American ones in
Yeah.
España. So we just try them out, pero it just kind of sneaks up on you real quick, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh damn, Pero las hangovers are a lot. It's hard, so just stick to a couple. Yeah.
Like if you're drinking Merlot, you're Merloted.
We're loaded.
Yeah, you don't drink wine with your wife, huh?
I do a little bit,
not to a point
but
where
I don't
you're
know
like-
about wine. But the thing with my girl is, see, I used to not drink until I met him. He's like a bad influence.
Oh wow.
So when I met him, he really likes to try new beers out a lot. So therefore, I've been trying out a lot of new beers over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
My wife, she doesn't like to try new wine. She sticks to her wine, and she will buy the same bottle that she's bought in for like the last 7-8 years.
Yeah.
So do I drink wine with her? Yeah, sometimes I'll have a glass or two, but it's always the same one. So do I know about wine? No, I don't know absolutely
Well, I don't know
anything
about wine either.
So if I go into the grocery store, they have more wine than grocery store or like a liquor store. They have a ton of wine. So I mean, I couldn't tell you what kind of wines I drink or I couldn't tell you anything about it. I just know that she likes really fruity things and sweet. So I mean, that's about as far as I can get into wine.
Is it
explaining.
white or red sweet? Does she? Or
It's,
both? Do you know she's picked up a bottle of like Roscato?
Yeah, it is that. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
That's probably the common one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
It's the
common.
same company that does a lot of the sweet Moscato, and they just came up with the idea of a sweet red.
See?
Yeah.
Well, I think even for beginners or even pros out there, rule number one in wine, do you like it? Yeah, you don't have to explain like flavor. You may try to explain flavors that you're having in your palate, but from the beginning of consuming, just like beer and liquor, plain and simple, do you like it? Keep it simple.
But the hard thing with wine is, like, compared to beer, you don't get very expensive. So I think maybe price difference, max, maybe like a $5 difference between low shelf and then like higher shelf, right?
Yeah.
But wine, you can get like a $10 wine, $15 wine, and then you can get a $75 wine, and it doesn't mean that the $75 wine is gonna be taste better or anything. It like you said, it's what you like, I guess.
It's what you like, yeah.
Do you usually try to stay? Do you find that one like price point tastes better than another price point, or what's your opinion on that when you're talking about wine?
I mean, in general, from growing up in Napa Valley, and even being surrounded with some folks in the industry, and then some travels in Europe. I mean, I've had wines that are $1,500 a bottle.
15.
And-
But I've had wines from the same area with the same grapes that are even just 100 or 150 a bottle, and it's all the same.
Is it the same? So a $1,500 a bottle of wine
It
didn't really change.
It is
similar.
a really good bottle of wine, but at that point, you're holding what is known as a trophy bottle. It's something that is just produced such a minimum quantity where there's only a percentage of individuals out there that actually buy those things by the cases.
I've heard that. You know where? I heard that at the Shark Tank.
What'd you hear?
It was something similar, saying that, like, look, what he said, pretty much realistically speaking, it's very similar. But he says, I mean, there's only that percentage of status that you're gonna get with people buying that high end wine, and it's very slim. And he also said that he makes his money is gonna be made with anywhere between $10 to $20 bottle instead of those expensive bottles. Because it's volume, mass produced, pues, en vez de expensive ones. Que.
Yeah, or you find bargain wines, on sale like at grocery outlet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that either. No, I did. I don't remember where I heard, but I heard that one of the most profitable wine companies was the one with the kangaroo. And I think the one with the kangaroo is like the one that you see at like gas stations.
The
for
big
most
big
parts.
company from Australia, Yellowtail.
Yellowtail.
Yeah.
Yellowtail?
Yeah, and I think
Huge
that
company.
it used to be. I don't know if it still is, but I think it was like $7.99 or $8.99 a bottle. And they were saying that even though it was really cheap, that like it ran circles around like any of the bigger companies. The profit margins were just like crazy on something like that.
Before I guess,
Go ahead.
Question: What do you think about those wine little ball thingies at the gas stations?
Oh, fizz balls or
No, those are mainstream. Like, no, not those big ones. Those little ones.
yeah. Well,
Is that what it's called?
Aren't they doing some alcohol, some hard liquor on? Yeah.
No,
Buzz
that's
balls.
wine though.
No, I've seen them.
Oh,
in
okay,
wine-
yeah.
yeah, just the smaller formats.
Yeah.
Where yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well,
Like,
I think from that, just like going into this category, you're gonna start to see a lot more alternative packaging because the cost of glass just keeps rising.
Oh, okay.
So you're starting to see, the balls or different box wine, like in different formats, or the can category going in, pouch. It's no longer just Capri Sun, you guys.
Yeah.
It's just you're gonna see some boozy Capri Sun out there.
That's right.
Hey, that's a good
That's
idea.
smart.
Yeah.
it
That's
is.
smart.
Good marketing.
Good marketing. Yeah, that's what I was
Hey guys,
saying.
don't cover your ears.
Yeah, we're gonna bleep that out.
Yeah.
You were gonna tell us or walk us through like the process, right?
Well, yeah, I think you were curious on portfolio, huh? In general, what I have, yeah. So,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So yeah, in general, grapes coming in before I process for red wine, okay,
Okay.
would be going back to my friend Adrian Mendoza from his vineyard out in Orchard Heights Road. It's Gewürztraminer. It's a grape from Germany and planted in other areas like France, for example. But that is brought in about 20 bricks sugar measurement, because I'm going to have something lower alcohol. It's going to be made into a base wine, and I'm going to send it to a place in McMinnville where it's forced carbonation. You can either do traditional champenoise method for actual champagne, or you can do forced carbonation. This is forced carbonation right here.
Okay.
That's one. That's the end. That's the beginning of harvest. Okay, you bring in some grapes for bubbly, for sparkling. Next would be previous years that I produced Pinot Gris. What's popular out here in Oregon a lot would be Pinot Gris, Chardonnay. I do source some Pinot Noir that I make into rosé, but it's ended up in a can. So I keep preaching about Pinot Noir dominating out here, which I don't produce because everybody else makes Pinot Noir. So then after that, you guys, then comes in the reds little by little, okay? This being one of them. Tempranillo normally is grown in hotter areas. It's originally from Spain. It's planted in Texas, California, Southern Oregon. This is in West Salem, which means you start to have some growers that are planting varietals that are preparing themselves for global warming. They're thinking ahead, okay, in farming. They're thinking, what else can we plant? And I like to buy that because, again, the market saturated with Pinot Noir. I can produce something different. I can be different with this, with Trousseau. Blaufränkisch is an Austrian varietal. You rarely see it in the U.S. alone, but it's planted in Dallas, Oregon.
Wow.
I buy Syrah, Gamay Noir, and the very last one, when you on our break, when you ask about with grapes that ripen more and develop more sugar, and how you said, are they going to end up with higher alcohol? It is yes. And one grape that I buy is actually outside of Prosser, Washington, in the Horse Heaven Hills, is Cabernet Franc. So that's what I start out with. What I've mentioned. To have lower bricks that go into certain categories, or the ones that come in riper, that are going to produce the higher alcohol and the bigger style reds.
So you buy everything all at once, and you already know how many cans or bottles it's going to produce, so you do everything at once, or is it smaller batches, or how does that work?
So yeah, for the grapes, it's all in volume of tonnage. 1 ton gets you about 55 cases of wine. Factored out into cans, about just shy of a ton of grapes is going to get you about a bit over 1,400 cans.
1,400 cans.
And no, I did not buy the cans myself. I am really lucky. I found a place in Milwaukee, se llaman Tin Man Canning. I basically have to move the wine there myself. They can it, they label it. I go back and pick up what I transferred the wine in, and I got to go back and pick up the cans and transfer them over to be stored. Okay? The white and rosé I take to a place in Yamhill, and he does the forced carbonation on the wine.
Okay.
The wine is actually set, it's left outside. He does the process at a certain time of the year where naturally it's outside of cold in Oregon. You leave the wine outside. Just picture a place manufacturing soda. The same thing with sodas. They're in such a big stainless steel tank. They stabilize and have the product really cold. And then it's forced carbonation where it's so cold that it traps the bombitas, the carbonation.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I was able to find a place where I'm canning in small quantities. But keep in mind, I'm a drop in the bucket out there. When you see in cans out in Oregon, the big companies dominating is really 4 brands that really dominate this category. And those 4 brands are actually lucky enough to even push their wine out in different states in the U.S. But the big difference with myself is definitely a big shout out to my accounts that are truly loyal and support small companies, because when they're tasting this to something mass produced, it's night and day that what you're having.
Yeah.
And
No, we had 8 months ago or so we had Joey Energy on, and they're an organic energy drink company based out of
wow.
Portland, Oregon.
Oh, excellent.
And they were telling us also about how they do their canning and labeling and stuff, and
Yeah.
how difficult it is as well.
Yeah.
But no, I find that really interesting. So did you know, were you involved in this process of the winemaking when you were down in Northern California? Or is this all new to you?
I always pitched in opportunities with friends and family to produce wine. And even a wine produced with an uncle of mine was served at my wedding.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
But never on a scale of, the term is garage winemaking.
Okay.
Just like folks, that brew beer at
Yeah.
their house for their passion.
Yo.
Even some are lucky to afford things to distill in their house, which is really highly illegal and dangerous. Could be dangerous. But yeah, no, it's always been in me. Actually, Parra in northern Portugal, northwest Spain, and parts of Chile, Parra means vine. That's why it's shaped like a old vine, and then the three ridges on the roots. The three ridges here. I'm the third generation in the wine business.
Dang.
So storytelling on the branding.
There we go.
Yeah.
It says it on the back too. Did you notice?
No, I didn't even see
that's
the
what
back
do
of it.
I read it earlier. That's cool. That's awesome.
Parra is Spanish surname meaning a grapevine.
So,
Yeah.
do you are these out on? Are you only in bars, like not bars, but just like kind of like restaurants, bars?
So these right here, you actually had Mesa del Rincón.
Yeah, he showed
Yeah.
me. He showed me he had them there.
Yes, and I would say my biggest account is Life Source Natural Food Store
Okay.
over here on Commercial.
Yeah.
They have both of my cans right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have these in there too or no?
They do not have Tómalo Frío, but Life Source has 2 can wines. They have my Vino Blanco tall bottle. They have my Riesling, my dessert wine, my Rosé,
Oh, they got a lot.
Rosé of Tempranillo, my Cab Franc, and my Syrah right now. Yeah, they love to support small companies, so
That's awesome.
truly blessed to be with companies like them. Also, a big shout out in Northeast Salem, Easy Orchard.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are they've been very supportive to my company.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Easy Orchards. Yeah, we used to go there for their strawberry shortcake. My daughter loves that.
Yes.
Have you ever been there?
Long time ago.
Yeah. You don't support local businesses, huh?
I do, but
Oh, also too, La Familia has my sparkling rosé.
Okay.
La Familia here, and in Portland, JJ just took some wine, the red that I'm sold out technically of the Vino Chingon can, and JJ just bought it before it sold out.
Really?
And he's tried both of them, but he really picked up the red right before it sold out. So now both of those are at the other La Familia too.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I haven't been to the new one yet, the one in Portland.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
I
try
stopped
that
in. I stopped in to just say hi to him once. I was making some deliveries out there and working like a pop-up event in the evening, and I just happened to stop by when he was just about to open.
Would you? Well, actually, before I ask that, so on one of the articles I read, it was saying that last year in 2023 physical year, you sold I think it was 4,500 cans or 4,500 bottles / cans of beer, or excuse me, wine. And you were saying that this year you had a goal of 10,000 individual bottles and cans that you were wanting. So how close are you to that goal,
Of the cans?
or just total?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think you might have seen the projection growth of Pitch Latino.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought that was yours. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it is mine.
Okay.
But what happened with that one? Pitch Latino. Imagine, I was in front of 300 people.
That's a lot of people.
Yes, and I was the only Latino wine brand in Oregon so far that's been involved with Pitch Latino, because not only not to say that even Latino brands, but overall wine industry sticking to this. And I think for Pitch Latino, like any other company, you're pitching your company of what's so different about it. And for myself, preaching about how I'm the second domestic Latino brand, in the U.S. to can wine, and talking about stats, and of course embracing cultura in this. But yes, you're right. So when I mentioned that I did the sparkling rosé, the rosado, this vino blanco and vino chingon, as I mentioned to you, when processing just shy of a ton, you end up with a bit over 1,400 cans. So yeah, so that's that's shy of around 4,500 cans in general.
That's a lot.
And then they were looking for projections of like coming years. And for me, I'm like, because I had to throw a number out there. And I already know with certain volume, if I'm going to connect with distributors that I've been in touch with mainly in Idaho and Washington, and factor in another state there, then that projection would be like 10,000. So yeah, that's why I put certain numbers there. But that's not happening this year.
No, so now that you're mentioning out of state, so are you already in the state of Idaho? Is it really difficult to get your wine from one state to another? Legal reasons?
It is, and how I mentioned how there's a glut of alcohol out there right now. It's really hard to get on with a distributor, and a small distributor company in Portland just began to help me out in general. But even in general too, with the process of what I process in grapes right now, I'm just having enough revenue to pay bills, basically. I mean, any extra revenue goes back into the company for growth. Like there's no checks being made to myself. It's all just
reinvesting.
It's just reinvesting the small amount in general. So again, it's been some steps at a time, but it can happen out there in general.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can distribute your wine. What do you think the easiest way of distribution for you is? Is it like the smaller like small mom and pop shops, or is it like the larger scales, like the natural grocers that you were speaking of? What's easier?
The easiest thing would be to get investors involved, partners. That's the next step in general, aka easy way is to get more capital involved.
5 million.
more, thank you. Because then you have the volume, and then you have enough wine and different wines to actually offer them to a distributor. Because the distributor needs to know that they're going to be getting a certain amount of volume every year as well. They don't want you to be giving them like one rosé, one white, and 4 reds, and the next year you're telling them, oh hey, I don't have a rosé, but I have 3 whites and 2 reds. And then they have their customers back in that state saying, "Hey, where the heck's this wine at?" You need what is known as SKUs, SKU. You need so many different wines that are going to be consistent, produced every year. Then you can build that relationship with distributors because they're happy getting the same product every year.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing more frustrating than
imagine the next year you get you're a whole different order, and for all their accounts saying, "Where's that freaking delicious rosé?"
Not this
Oh,
year.
he didn't make it this year. that doesn't really work out so well with the big wigs, because then with the large distributors, then I can get into, as you mentioned, that's when you have consistent accounts out of state, like the Fred Meyer, the Safeway, Albertsons, etc., Costco. I mean, that's big time right there.
Yeah. No, I remember she was talking about Costco too, but she was saying that Costco wasn't like they were just wanted it too cheap. Joey, they were saying that there was like no profit margins.
The guy with the natural energy drinks.
Yeah, with the energy drinks.
I can imagine.
She was just saying.
Yeah.
I guess they got in the room, but
they're losing money.
They were losing money. They had to sell it in bigger quantities, and then there was just no profit margins at that point. But I would feel like being inside of a Costco would be like
The goal.
the goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
goal.
eventually, right?
That's a wild dream right there. Yeah.
Can someone like an average Joe just buy your wine? Do you have like a website or anything?
It's
or
parrawineco.com, and then there's it says inquire my wines.
okay, and that's on your Instagram as well, right?
On Instagram is just more postings in general. What I do in my profile on Instagram, the one right now, it's to make a reservation at a table at a restaurant called Copitos, where I'm gonna be at on Tuesday.
Copitos.
And I just changed my profile link to like different events that I'm gonna have.
Oh, I see.
But instead of just having like my website on my profile link, it's better off to support at places where I'm going to be at, because that's the way that I go share my wines to the public is my pop-ups. You know, how I found you guys was in the story of Bison.
Oh, yeah.
Bison. Oh,
They-
okay.
they're-
Cynthia.
They're consistent on attending the greeters event, networking.
Yep.
And they're go-getters, man.
They are.
So seeing the style that you guys do, and for myself, well, you know, in general, for myself, seeing the style of what you guys do, everything's so organic, but having guests here that I've known for a hot minute, but speak highly, and I respect them very much. I saw the story plate of Bison, and that's why I wanted to ask about La Familia in general. But with the owners of Bison, I see them at greeters event. You know, for them also being a family operation, they have to go out and network the business side. But I feel that I'm not sure if she's doing the social media, but she captures just so many great moments that of what they do with family as a family business, and what they're doing step by step. Like they're just like tearing out this rug, and I find that just very interactive in general. But even going back to La Familia, you know, with the Gonzalez family, with his father being a working in orchards, you know, picking fruit,
Yeah.
and then his mom, you know, making good agua frescas, and that was obviously with his taste profile, putting that in an art of cider. You know, a great company. But I just find Salem very pro business, and this is not Latinos in general. It's just in general for networking, very pro business. Great organizations that I attended, even though going into some school for marketing and business, it's always good to get into a support circle. And for myself, it was a Chemeketa Small Business Development Center
Okay.
right here in Salem. Just and then for this side, going into bottling gigs and meeting others like myself that don't have the capital, but you're working extra to pursue a goal in general. But even for the Latino community here, and the changes happening also, I feel what's going to happen in Woodburn with Amazon moving in, and with certain programs going into the city to get more Latinos to be business owners. I feel you're going to be surprised at the big shift that's going to happen in Woodburn in general, as far as an explosion of population, a major shift already for commerce for Latino business owners. And I feel for both of you, keep up the great work. I feel, you know, the guests that you've had here, just the variety to show the entrepreneur spirit in general.
I think what we're doing is difficult, because what we're doing is we're having people that we find interesting from different industries come on. Go ahead.
I was just remembering about the cider, but go ahead.
People from different industries. So it's really hard for us to kind of capture an audience, because last week we could have had could have had her a remodel or demolition company, and then now this week we have Sam who creates wine. So it's like it's just so different. But I think that if we like it, there's got to be someone that's gonna think it's interesting, and I think that we're gonna be able to grow our stuff slowly and steady, right?
Yeah.
But I like doing this. He likes doing this, learning about different industries and learning about people, right?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that there's going to be a big shift. I mean, I think that you've seen a lot of it just from being here in 2016. Salem alone has grown so much. I don't even know if we had Amazon in Salem when you got here.
I don't
think
think
that
so.
was probably within the last 4 or 5 years, not 8, 9 years.
Yeah.
A lot of different distribution centers like that, which I find really interesting. We had Kurt. He was telling us, he's like, do you know why Amazon? He's like, put a distribution center in Woodburn out of putting a distribution center anywhere in Oregon.
Why is that?
Do you have any guesses? I had no idea, and this blew my mind.
So you're still covering Marion County. You're right off the highway. And you have the Latino workforce that works their ass off.
So the reason why he said that Amazon and a lot of distribution centers have landed in like the Salem Woodburn area is because semi-trucks, when you fill up a semi-truck can only drive for 10 hours a day. Well, I think it takes I think a full tank is almost them driving the 10 hours a day. Well, they have to stop every 10 hours. So why would you make them stop in between those 10 hours with the distribution center? Why wouldn't you work along like where they have to stop? So in the Salem, the Woodburn area is one of the biggest stops where most semi trucks have to stop for gas or for their they can't work after the 10 hours. So that's the reason why, and they're right off the highway. Both Woodburn and Salem are right off the highway.
Right.
But it's all really strategic. The reason why they're building so much in this area.
It's all in the valley. Basically, Corvallis, or desde Corvallis, Eugene, hasta como por acá, dijo.
Yeah.
So it's all centered in.
Right.
So I found that really interesting, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's why we're in such like a this is like a gold mine, is the way he basically said it, because we're just gonna grow from here. So I found that interesting. But with that being said, there's gonna be a lot of newer people moving in, like you were saying, and I think we're just gonna boom. I think so. We're excited to meet people that are coming into town and doing new ventures. You starting up a Hispanic wine brand, I think, is awesome with Jamaica flavors. You are trying to sell to a different demographic, right? And then another thing that I was reading on one of the articles was that a lot of younger people are not really drinking wine, right? So it's like that's something that you're trying to please and to have to start drinking a little bit more of this. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, of course. I mentioned earlier for alternative packaging, but also younger demographics gravitating to something like this, the affordability.
Okay.
There is such a large population at a certain age where they are living at home, and that is okay. Especially with so much depth with school, and possibly getting back out of school into the grind of the work, the full-time job of sometimes finding a job where, let's face it, something of maybe $25 and up, it's considered a luxury market for wine, where you can find something 1/3 of a bottle at less than $10. In general. So yes, they are gravitating to smaller formats and a good percentage embracing more well-being. So that would be scaling back on alcohol consumption.
And one of the things that blew my mind that he was talking about, I don't think you were talking about it on camera. I think it was off camera. So you guys can see this can, and it looks like a normal size can. But what he was saying was that this small can contains 2 glasses of wine.
It's 1/3 of a bottle. It's a 250 ml. This is a 750 right here. This is a full bottle is a 750.
So I mean, what you're able to put in a can like this that looks pretty small is pretty amazing.
Deceiving,
too.
yeah. It's deceiving. It's a 250. It's a 1/3 of a bottle in a can.
Because a bottle of wine, if you open it, you almost have to drink the whole thing, don't you?
Yeah. So that's another thing too for myself. Shifting into this as well. Where I can I can have accounts now like Mesa del Rincon, what is a tap house. I can be at breweries. At one place in Portland, Northwest Portland, is Occidental Brewery. I'm the only brand they sell there. It's because it's canned wine. Because the rosé and the whites may not oxidize because they have it in the fridge. But the issue when you open a red wine is that, yes, you have within 4 to 5 days, depending on the wine, to sell it. If not, the bottle oxidizes. Well, you can imagine at a brewery where they mainly have beer drinkers, beer lovers going in.
Yep.
But in that one group or that one couple going in, there's going to be the wine lovers that just do not drink beer at all. And imagine, again, for them, they have to open a bottle of red wine. And again, they only have the only a certain amount of days to sell the bottle. Or eventually the owner or the employee is going to take it home and finish it.
Yeah.
Now let it get oxidized. Well, the shift happened with this where you don't open it to sell a glass. You just sell it to a person directly.
Right.
They're not opening anything at all. They're selling it by the can.
Yeah.
So for them, I've had gain of taquerias, of breweries, and again, places like, La Familia Cider, where they've carried my bottled wine before too, and now with the cans. But I think for them, that's overall for them as Latinos entrepreneurs supporting other Latinos in business.
So if you're not in an event that requires you to drink out of the can, would you say that the wine would taste better if you actually put it in a glass of wine?
Yes, it will.
It will. There is a difference.
Yes.
What can you explain that difference?
In general, I mean, you're having nothing to have the wine directly from the can and tin, but you're basically getting the wine, something like this for bubbles. You could be getting what they're known as flutes. You've seen how people drink from actual champagne, how they're lengthy.
I haven't
And
seen
champagne, it's a champagne glass.
that. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They can be referred as a flute as well.
Okay.
And the purpose with that is being more of the length. The bubbles don't evaporate faster than having it like an open glass.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so you could have it on a flute, but if you have just your stemware, the stemless ones that don't have a stem, those
Just the
are those are
round ones,
great.
right? Yeah.
Those are great. Just have this out of the fridge, nice and cold. Have it there, and it will be a much difference on a glass because of the opening that you have as well. Air is going into the cells, the actual wine, and it's airing out more aromas. And eventually the air is going to get into the wine and it's going to release more flavors on your palate as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, versus this is the only opening you're getting.
Very small opening, yeah.
Versus a glass, you're getting air into the wine. You're exposing more aromas and flavors.
That makes sense now.
Is that why do people smell the wine and shake it? Like,
Yeah, so you swirl to get the air going into the cells, going
Okay.
into the wine, and you're releasing more aromas. So there's a purpose of not just looking snobby.
yeah, because it's
swirling
like
in a glass.
they look at it.
Yeah.
And I saw a video of this guy. He's,
There's some comedy going where
he
the legs.
Yeah, the legs.
Yeah, so the lines, that's alcohol. The lines itself, that is alcohol evaporating, creating the lines. Okay. But some people say like, oh, this tells you so much about wine because that's just
it's like-
them not really knowing what's happening, trying to be wine snobs basically. And
Like we would have a buddy that when we would drink beer, he would start saying about how like hoppy it tastes.
Oh, into the
and we're
beers,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
he would go the hell up,
he would-
man.
Hey, shout out. He'd be like,
Shout out to Saeed.
oh yeah, or even inspiring brew guys. That's their passion, and they will.
But we would be drinking a Corona, and he'd
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, this tastes hoppy." Shut the hell up.
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
it tastes hoppy. I was like,
Yeah. He's a beer snob.
Yeah.
no, I saw this this video a while back, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. They kind of like swirl it and smell it, and then they put it under like just a little bit under their tongue,
How they do that sound because that's more
like
air
under their tongue,
going,
and
yeah.
then you gotta kind of like breathe with your
Yeah.
your mouth, and you can kind of según decent, but
Yeah.
I don't know, is that true or not?
Well,
Nah, it's
again,
just kinda-
you're rotating more air in your palate. And,
okay.
But I think that's just again some routine that they do when wine tasting to get again more air going in their palate, and I don't think sometimes it's even that needed.
Okay,
It's-
damn,
yeah.
I was gonna try that. I was like,
Go on a run and then drink a bottle of wine, dude.
I should have just told you to gurgle it and spit it back in the glass. Like a new step.
You would add a lot of air in that,
creating.
dude.
How easy it is for like if me and Alan want to be like, hey, you know what? We just want to do a wine or we want to do a brewery. Because breweries, is it the same thing going to a brewery?
So that could be easy because both of you can still have your daytime job.
Yeah.
And you can really go to a winery or you can even come to me and say, hey, we really like that Tómalo Frío, even though you have the formula and we talk business and all of a sudden you guys want like with these half bottles and say, hey, you know, we want to buy like 40 cases off you. There's only certain things that I need to have still set in the back, but in the front here, it can be your own label.
Yeah.
And you can gift that over to friends and family. But as far as to resell it, I mean that's paperwork involved in fees where you would have to go push it yourself. But to have your own wine,
is it the same as with breweries and stuff? Would you say it's the same, similar?
it's the same as for breweries, I believe, because even for La Familia, if you wanted to make like a custom label for you guys, where you're just gonna have it to drink and for regifting for your promotions, La Familia can easily make like your own little custom label, as long as you're not trying to resell it to stores, you know, or even to people. That for that you need to go into business.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Like,
but you can go. I can submit paperwork for you and. You know, like consult and start an LLC and get your resale license.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't need to be in the process of winemaking. You just need that 5 million, right? Going back to that.
Just 5.
Yeah.
Just 5. No.
It's all right. Our IT's got 5 million.
Yeah. All right, IT.
We need a small loan.
Is there something that you want to talk about, Sam, that we might have missed or that you want to mention to someone?
No,
or
you know, I think it's just
or-
more a matter of thanking you guys for myself, seeing the interaction of Bison, what they did, and again for myself reaching out to you because what I do not have right now is again the brick and mortar, the tasting room, so I lack the foot traffic. A lot of a good portion of my sales are wholesale, which I could increase more of my events that I do in general, but that would require to commit more time to the company.
Yeah.
But in general, for myself, when you asked earlier, hey, you know, when I said, oh, I feel comfortable in podcasting, you're like, how many have you been on? And I could start counting or. You know, for me, the big honor was the one getting the email out of the blue of a really well-known one in Europe.
Okay.
Where they're very selective on companies and the wine industry and people that are doing that. But for myself, being from the Bay Area in Northern California, is just something in that environment, and it's in our DNA and our blood, man, where I truly grew up believing that closed mouths do not get fed, plain and simple. So that's why I reached out to you guys, right?
Yeah.
And I started that because, again, for myself, you've seen the articles on a national level, the ones here in the area, including the Statesman Journal being very supportive of my brand, but lacking, again, that interaction on a brick and mortar. And for myself, being out in self-distribution or on a social media basis, informing individuals to attend where I'm going to be at, you guys are the voices amplifying for companies like myself, plain and simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be saying like, oh, all those features in Forbes magazine, like, don't give a damn, or even locally. One just has to, for myself as a small company, it's not just the 1, 2, 3 step. It's the 4, 6, 7, 8 and beyond step in general for covering everything in the industry. Or I'm sorry, covering everything in my company in general, from grape contracts to social media, where right now, when I do my pop-ups on the weekend or some that I squeeze in the weekday, I mean, I'm booked out through early November right now.
Through early November.
Or along with having 2 jobs, I mean, I know what events I have in the future because I have to be that organized.
Yep. Yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Oh yeah, we
No,
appreciate you.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to reach out and say, hey, I want to have your wine products in my convenience store, gas station, or restaurant,
mercado.
or
Yeah.
mercado, what's the best way to reach you?
Plain and simple, Parra Wineco at Gmail.
Okay, and
Or call me.
Usually, are they able to get the product right away? Because I know JJ just bought all. He was selfish and bought all of your wine. But is that something that usually you can get right away, or is there a long time frame?
Yeah, I mean, JJ definitely caught like the tail end of the Vino Chingon, but I have everything in front of you here. I have for sale,
Okay.
along with other wines.
Maybe you'll be a wine drinker now.
Yeah, I'm turning into a wine drinker now.
Next episode, wine.
Let's go.
Little glass. You gotta do this. You gotta move it.
Bring
Right.
the cheese board and
Right.
the asada
Cheese board.
tacos.
Exactly.
Did you ever do that? Do you? They call it a cheese board. What do
Yeah,
you
it's a
call
cheese
it?
board.
Well, and in general, I mean, for more courses that I took in California, yes, I did. You can actually take food and wine appreciation classes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's
No.
a cheese board, but it's cheese and
the
crackers.
charcuterie board.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it is. It's not called cheese
You
board.
can call it cheese board.
Or
They call it cheese board.
some people call it.
Charcuterie has other stuff on
Yeah, some people call it the adult lunchable.
Tú no sabes, güey.
No sé.
Can't take you out nowhere, dude. Let's
And
go.
John, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.